Hi viewers, how you doing? Hope it's been a wonderful time with you, a wonderful week with your family, your children, and those you're taking care of. Once more, you're welcome to Shantia's Haven, a place where we talk about family issues and the society. Today on Shantia's Haven, as usual, we have an interesting topic. This one that goes right into the heart. We have a guest with us who will share a topic with you: managing our children, coaching our children, and handling their emotional lives, as well as putting them as number one on our list, top on the list. Today we have our guest, Christy Achua Ebaku. Hello, Christy.
Hello, Shantia Heaven.
Welcome to Shantia's Haven.
Thank you very much.
I love your smile. It's a bright day.
It's a bright day, really.
Okay. Today we are talking about emotional lives of our children. Parents in relation to the emotional lives of their children. Growing up, I know that when I hear that word emotions, I just know it's something to do with those big girls and big boys in the house who have love stories and things like that. So it doesn't really concern the little ones. What would you have to say about parents and the emotional lives of their children?
Thank you very much, Shantia Heaven, for this opportunity again. Emotions is a very sensitive issue, and one of the reasons I smile because it's very sensitive to our children and to the society.
Okay.
And many a times the idea about emotions is always has to do with relationship issues, adolescent issues, but emotions has to do with the way we feel.
Okay.
It focuses more on the conscious and the unconscious aspects of that child's feeling, the mind, the heart. How affected is that child towards the society, towards the circumstances and the challenges that they go through, all englobes in emotions.
Okay. So how can a parent manage this? Because growing up, I know that especially in our African content, there are some things your parents tell you that they don't talk.
Yeah.
Just the look on their face. So let me take it first to this aspect.
Okay.
What are some of the ways of expressing our emotions as a child? Maybe from there we'll know what to say.
Very good. Many a times, especially in a African background, the emotions of a child is always very neglected. Worst of it in the family, among siblings, if that child is even the least, you're not called to express your anger. You're not called. You don't even have right to express a certain level of anxiety. You don't have that right to express worries. And those are the situations that surround the emotions of a child. And emotion has to do with, it's a developmental process. It goes on, it unfolds from a child as at one right up to teenager, right up to adulthood and all that. And each of those stages of a child involves our participation in that emotions, so that they become responsible and the people that we want them to be.
Parenting is not easy at all.
Of course.
But we are making progress.
Okay.
On Chance's Haven, that's the purpose, to help us make it a wonderful place in our families. So Christy, still talking about these emotions.
Yeah.
Now, you find a child who expresses their emotions. I have my child, the child throws tantrums, cries and all, it disturbs me. How should I manage that kind of thing?
I'll answer this question by a film I watched. I've forgotten the title of that film, but it was so interesting. I watched it some time in my very early stages of life. And the film was about how babies react. Okay. So there was this circumstance of a baby who was crying, and the mother was trying to, breastfeed the baby. And then while the mother was breastfeeding this baby, a friend walked in and she was so excited. She was like, oh, she started talking to her friend. She quickly stopped the baby from breastfeeding, kept the baby on the chair, And there was another baby from the friend. The friend who was coming into the house had her own baby and left the baby. They were all among themselves. And in the film, they made it in such a way that those watching the film get the language of the child.
Oh, okay.
But those acting don't get the language.
Interesting.
And suddenly one of the babies was like, he looked at another friend, you see them, they don't pay attention to us.
Oh.
And the other one says, the only way she can listen to me is cry. The other little one said, cry. And then the baby starts saying, hee. And the mother was still talking, say, I'm coming. The other friend says, cry louder so that you get her attention. And she shouted, wah! And the mother came to the baby and said, you see, you want it.
Oh.
So you can imagine. And while growing up with that, I understood that even those babies right from the stomach need attention. And so let's not just neglect the attention of our children. That 1-year-old child who comes to you, mommy, I want to tell you something, you're a friend, you're like, oh, please leave some the friend go. It's not worth it. That 30 seconds of giving a hearing ear to that child and says, sweetheart, what do you want? Maybe mommy, my bonbon. I'm telling that child, like, okay, mommy will attend to you shortly. Let me talk with friend. She'll give you all that attention that you need because she knows that anytime I need mommy, mommy is available for me. But when you make them to know you have to push them, they don't have that space to express how they feel, how they worry.
So your children should be like your priority, the number one on that priority list.
Exactly. Once as they have that confidence that they are your priorities, they'll give you the space that you need as parents.
Okay.
Let's not push them each time to themselves. Sometimes even when they are angry and they express their emotions about anger, it's not just about the act of getting angry. Excuse me, parents, sometimes you do get angry too. Yeah. What about that? You know, we just try to play the judgmental role upon these children. You don't have the right to be angry. You don't have the right to frown when mommy talks to you. Calm down. Don't focus too much on the acts of the expression, but focus on the reason and the motive of that expression. Okay. When you focus on that motive and the reason, you will better help them. And they will come to an understanding that I overexpressed my emotion. Because you know, one thing about emotions is that it's the control of the emotions that we need to teach our children. We need to teach them and help them manage those emotions. Not manage it for them, not taking their place, but guiding them to managing that emotion so that they become more responsible citizens.
I don't know who will relate because I remember you're crying and why are you crying? They shout at you, don't cry. It's like you're disrespectful. They shout at you, you cry. Why are you crying? And so you, as a child, you're just confused. You don't know how to even express yourself. Which one should I do? Or which one is correct? Which one would come with a spank? Or which one is actually... Christy, it's not easy.
Of course it's not easy. You know, I remember that experience. Growing up in my home, I was a list of them, like, you know, the Benjamin. And each time you want to, close that mouth. You were not supposed to talk. And you know, I grew up holding my emotions to myself. I knew to be strong, you need to keep yourself. I knew. And so at one point in time, when I had an opportunity, I had a very difficult moment in my life where I lost my mom. I couldn't even express that in crying physically because you had to be strong. But sometime later, I faced it because it was so much inside and I had to burst it out. Why? Because I wasn't given that opportunity. I didn't allow myself to flow out those emotions. Sometimes, don't let the child cry. Sometimes just let the child worry. But the child will get to understand that what is the consequences after that worry? What do you get after that? When the child understands that after that worrying comes out nothing but headaches and all that, the child will be more responsible enough. Then you can come with your lesson and say, see, you know this thing you were worrying about, the solution is not that you're worrying about. You see that after worrying about it didn't bring out anything. You have taught that child has gone through that experience of worrying or crying, but understood that managing it is not the worrying that brings the solution. It's what I get out of it. That's emotions.
And I think you can't really even get to that point, that level with your child if you don't have a personal relationship with that child.
Exactly.
So I think parents and guardians too have to develop this personal one-on-one relationship with their children. Let them be the children's confidant, where the children can come to you, run to you at any time, and say whatever thing they feel like saying without any fear of judgment.
That is the foundation and the basis of emotions. That confidence that the children can always run to you. No matter how hard it is, no matter how they feel, they should be able to tell you that this thing is negative and this thing is positive. I remember one of my daughter's 4-year-old, she had an attitude of, you know, she removes cold kata from her nose and she eats it up.
Yeah.
Primary school, in her nursery, she removes that and she eats it up. And so she always does that in school. And when I noticed that at home, you know, I scolded like, why did you do that and everything? She kept doing it. I called her at one point in time and I sat her down and I asked her a question. Why do you always do that? She says, Mommy, I don't know. And I realized that there was something wrong somewhere. So while talking with this child, 4-year-old child, she later on expressed to me that she has her friends in class During break, they force them, they all have to do it together. And they make them to feel like it's very nice.
Oh.
And so, because of that closeness, she had confidence in me. After beating, he didn't get the solution.
Yes. Yeah.
But getting close to her, I realized that there was a friend who was very influential in class who has to push them to do that. And to her, it became an attitude. And so I was able to help her out of it and make her to know the disadvantages of that kind of act, because those are the foundations of addictions. And if we don't have that close relationship, like you said, we'll lose them to other deeper addictions. And before you know it, the child faces serious problems in adolescence. So that closeness is very important to solve emotional problems from the tender ages right up to as they grow old.
Parent, how close are you to your child? How attached are you to your child? Does your child feel like he or she is your number one? Does your child feel confident to express and to discuss anything with you? If a parent has already messed that up, how can we fix it? Like, maybe my child comes and tells me something and all I do is shun that emotion or try to manage it for that child and not teach the child how to manage their emotions. How do I fix it? Because we're learning here today.
There is always a way forward. Sometimes wanting to make progress is not about what had been done in the past. It's about making the steps to make those things work. Now, most of the times in the society, the focus remains at times on those children who are introverted. But we fail to lay emphasis also on our extroverted children. None is bad as well as none is at their worst. They all have their peculiarities at their own levels. And sometimes those children with emotions who are so expressive, and you feel that because they're expressive, they don't have issues and they don't have problems. Be particular. One of the ways in handling that situation is be particular about your children. Know each of them. And when you know each of them at the personal level, you can be able to handle them as far as their various areas of challenges are concerned. The ones who are introverted, let them understand the importance of communicating and talking out to the right people, most especially. You know, the idea most of the time is just express yourself, just express yourself. Excuse me. We must understand that these children need to express themselves to the right people, because expressing themselves to the wrong people places them also at another end. So understanding these children, you each know when to place priorities on how to handle them from their various circumstances. Be them introverted or be them extroverted, they all have their challenges. Parents, just spare that time, spare that sacrifice to be able to lead and bring these children to the place of fulfillment at their emotions.
Wow. Thank you so much, Christy. Thank you so much. So we'll pay more attention to our children. We're going to listen for these emotions and how they express them. And we are not there to stop the emotions. We are not there to manage it for them. We're there to help them, guide them how to manage it in the proper and the best way possible. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, guardians. We're learning a lot on Shanti's Haven. And if you think this video helped you, or if you think that you learned something, why not share the video with a friend? Why not get others to subscribe and just hit the like button right down there. Leave your comments on how you manage the children's emotions at home so that others who read will also learn from that. See you some other time on Shanti's Haven. Never forget to leave it better than you met it. Bye-bye.